Okay. First of all, welcome everyone, and just a refresher from the introductions. I have been a Girl Scout leader for over 21 years. I have taken 3 troops up from kindergarten daisies up to ambassadors. So I'm here to share with you some nuggets that I've picked up along the way. So I'm going to start my screen share here of the PowerPoint. Let's see. Can everybody see this now? Yes?
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
it looks good on my end.
So welcome to Keeping Girl Scouting Cool. So, all right, Girl Scout, somebody help me here because there's a blocking message that's covering up my PowerPoint so I can't see it.
What is the message that's coming up for you?
The chat.
Okay,
there
so
it goes. Disappears. Okay, so in clicking it, I missed the way there, but what are we talking about here and why is it important? So what we're trying to do is what is the best way to keep girls of this age, the preteens and teens, engaged and excited about Girl Scouting, right? What is our biggest challenge? So this is, how to keep Girl Scout cool. Unfortunately, the reality of the fact, as was mentioned in the panel discussion, is that in social media and out there, Girl Scouting is not cool. Hopefully someday we'll get to the point where it is cool, but right now we have to work into the parameters. From people outside looking in, they may not think it's cool, but our goal is to make sure the girls in the troop who are in Girl Scouting think it's cool and want to stay. So as was mentioned, a lot of girls, their deepest, darkest secret is that they're a Girl Scout, especially in high school. They don't want anybody to know, and that's okay. We can respect that. The girls, that's why they may not want to do a booth sale at their local grocery store. So fine, go somewhere else outside of their local community where they can do things and set the goals and, volunteer for different things where maybe it's not that embarrassment factor that they're working on. But you have to respect the fact that girls may not be comfortable wearing their Girl Scouting uniform out, but the goal is to keep them doing the activities. So even though they might want to not be out there out loud and proud about it, they're still staying in Girl Scouting. So what is their gateway? It's the phone, right? They all walk around with the phones all the time, and it can be the biggest challenge or biggest distraction at your meetings. So I recommend that you do a no phone zone, collect, especially with these older girls, have something at the door when they come into your meeting where they silence their phones, put it in there, and they're not picking it up again until the end of the meeting. If you're doing it like an overnight, a weekend kind of thing, ask them to check their phones as well, but make sure then you give them breaks. Like when you take a break, okay, you guys can take your phones for an hour and go ahead and do what you have to do. And then, we go back to our Girl Scout programming, we'll put it away. So just try to keep the social media positive and not negative. So how do we go about keeping Girl Scouting cool? Well, there are 3 groups of people that are important to keeping Girl Scouting cool. The first one is you. It's you as a leader, because behind every great Girl Scout, there is a great leader. So Girl Scouting, keeping it cool, gets challenging in the middle school and high school ages. So are you in it for the long haul? Now, as I mentioned before, for a kindergarten daisy leader, this 13 years can seem overwhelming, but especially the older Girl Scouts need Girl Scout leadership that is both consistent and organized, and that's the key. So at the beginning of the school year, let them know that, have a schedule so they can see that we're in this. We have a structured program that's just as structured as their other activities, because if you don't take Girl Scouting seriously, they're not going to take Girl Scouting seriously. Now, we all know what our lives are like. I feel for all of you on this. We've all been there. We have so many things on our plate that sometimes it can feel overwhelming. And that's when I said, use the resources that I mentioned before. The volunteer toolkit, the volunteer resource center at Girl Scouts, they have canned programming that can make your programming so much easier. Your service unit should have things in place to make your job easier. Share the burden. So you're not reinventing the wheel for everything you're doing. Find someone who's already put together the programming and share it. The other thing is self-care. I think it's really important that you take care of yourself and don't let yourself get overwhelmed. And one of the best ways to do that is stay organized. Another way is to reach out to your peers. And I don't just mean your co-leader for your own troop, but the co-leaders in your association, especially with girls of the same level. Network with them. I find my alumni Girl Scout leaders like that I met 20 years ago, we don't have troops anymore. We're still getting together like every 2 months to go out to dinner just to kind of share and reconnect. So there is that Girl Scout leadership sisterhood that can do a lot to help you keep things manageable. So with all these competing things going on in our lives, is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it. I can honestly say, of all the things outside of raising my own family, of all the things I've done, including my career, Girl Scout leadership has been the single most rewarding thing I can do. So hang in there. Yes, sometimes it gets tough, but in the end, it is worth it. So yes, it's worth it. Is it important? Yes, it is important. You are mentors to this Girl Scout, and to these Girl Scouts in your troop, and I can't think of a more important role in a young girl's life outside of their parents, or perhaps a guidance counselor or a teacher. You're with these girls, not just every passing year like a favorite teacher. You're with them year after year after year. And you're modeling commitment and leadership that's going to help these girls grow into the leaders of tomorrow. So you're really making a difference in the world. And for that, I commend you, ladies. It's important. So know that, give yourself that pat on the back, because what you're doing is ever so important. A second group of people that are very important to keeping Girl Scouting cool are your parents. Your parents have to be on board. I mentioned this a little bit in the panel meeting before, the panel discussion before. And in keeping with our cool theme, we need parents to be icy. So you want to keep, I knew this was going to happen. These aren't going to line up. They lined up in practice and then it wouldn't. So, but the words go with the letters. So it's important that the parents know Girl Scouting is important. It is just as important, as I pointed out earlier, as the other activities that the girls are in. You have to make the meetings convenient. Your times and dates have to be at a time when parents can make them, and the girls can make them in their schedule. By the time the girls got to be older Girl Scouts, we held our meetings at 6:30 on Sunday nights, because that was the only time that girls really weren't that busy. At the beginning of the year, we gave a list of all the dates that meetings were going to be, or any special events like a weekend camp out or something like that. We provided it with the parents at the beginning of the year for their calendars. And while you can email it to them, give them a hard copy too. We had our girls use the Girl Scout handbooks, which is a 3-ring binder. We would punch a hole in the schedule, give it to them, it went right there. And it's so parents can say, oh, I didn't get the email, I lost it in my inbox. It's there, it's printed out. They can use it as a reference as they go throughout the year. Third thing is to keep your parents engaged. And we mentioned this a little bit in the some great ways Rose had to keep your parents engaged. I'd suggest that you hold a meeting at the beginning of the year for the parents. You don't have to make it a meeting. You can make it a get together and kind of tell your parents, listen, we as leaders are providing this for you girls, but we can't do it alone. I find often as we move into upper levels of Girl Scouting that like the Cookie Moms drop out, the fall products and Mags and Munchies drop off, because like we're not going to do that. A little bit, I'm going to talk why that's so important. Engage your parents, get them to participate in your troop. If they're invested in the troop, their daughters will be invested in the troop. Encourage parents to carpool with other people's daughters to meetings or events. They get to know the other girls. And again, it's another connection with the troop. And the fourth one is education. Sometimes it seems that parents really want their kids to participate in things that they feel are going to build their resumes for whatever reason, whether it's higher education or anything like that. Girl Scouting is one of the most important things that girls can have on their resume. School guidance counselors will back you up. And if you can have a word with them when they do presentations for their parents, to include scouting as in the things that are important for kids to be doing, that's a great asset as well. And I just want to share with you just 3 instances of times where Girl Scouting was so important for higher education, and they were with my own daughters. First of all, my oldest daughter, she attended a college fair at her high school and met a guidance counselor or an admissions counselor for a college that she was interested in going to. 3 months later, she went on a college visit and met with that guidance counselor, that admissions counselor again, because that's how they do it. And apparently when he had been at the high school, she had mentioned to him about her Gold Award project. So 3 months later, now she's on campus, meets with this advisor. Within a minute of the interview with him, he's like, I remember you. You were the girl who did that Gold Award project and remembered what she had done. So here it was, it was amazing. My daughter, he remembered me. He knew who I was. And that's very important. Another example, my second daughter went to college, became an engineer, was out working in the field for 3 years, decided then she wanted to go to law school. At the end of her law school career, she was interviewing for jobs. And on her resume, she had Gold Award recipient and lifetime Girl Scout member. 5 of her interviewers asked her about her Girl Scouting experience. This is 10 years after she left high school, 10 years. So let parents know that the effects of Girl Scouting and the impact Girl Scouting makes does make a difference down the line. And the third example is my youngest daughter. By the time I got to the third troop, I was really actually pretty good at being a Girl Scout leader. And we did some amazing stuff. And came time to write a college essay in their senior English class in high school. Told them, write a sentence at the beginning that really grabs your reader in. And my daughter's sentence, first starting sentence, opening sentence to her college essay was, I stood on the precipice of the bridge overlooking the gorge, wondering if I had the courage to jump. Now that's going to grab you in. Don't worry. We were rappelling off the bridge in Switzerland. And it was a fantastic experience. It was a springboard for her essay, but what a great experience for her to share. And it was a memorable essay. So let parents know that Girl Scouting is one of those activities that they're looking for that's going to enhance their girls' overall resume, not just for college, but for life beyond that. So the other final group, of course, are the girls themselves. We have to have the girls engage in Girl Scouting. And how do we do that? Now, this probably isn't going to line up either, like the last one. But the first thing we want to talk about is, all right, now it's not even working at all. Goal setting, which we talked a little bit about in the panel discussion. Keeping it interesting. I'm sorry, these aren't lining up. Reflection and the importance of review. Leisure time, also known as fun, and service. So we're going to talk about these 5 things very briefly. Hopefully we'll have some time at the end to do some sharing. So goal setting, we're going to talk about 2 different aspects of goal setting and Girl Scouting. The first one is the entrepreneurial programs of Mags and Munchies and Girl Scout cookies. And the second is the higher awards, the bronze, and especially the silver and gold award. So what can a cookie do? I find a lot of times with older Girl Scouts are like, we're not going to sell cookies anymore. We're not going to do the Mags and Munchies. This is so, it really is doing the girls a disservice, because with goal setting, what you can do is the girls can set a goal for themselves and they can achieve it through the entrepreneurial programs. So when they were younger, we would say, okay, where do you guys want to go at the end of the year? What would you like to do? And they were younger, it was things like, go to a dude ranch. So we figured out how much it would cost to go to the dude ranch for a night, and said to the girls, okay, this will cost, this much money, and then convert it into cookie boxes or Mags and Munchies or magazines. You have to sell this much product, and then this event will be paid for you. So it's setting a goal for the girls, and then it's really easy, for them to achieve this. And when they do, there's that self-satisfaction that, hey, I earned this. And now I'm enjoying the benefits of this trip or something like that. So I think the entrepreneurial programs can really help the girls take that, it teaches them responsibility and accountability, and it allows them to set a goal and achieve it. For older Girl Scouts, of course, cookie sales are tough. When they were kindergarten and they rang the doorbell, oh, you're so cute, I'll buy a dozen boxes. When they're 14 and they ring the doorbell, the person's like, all right, I'll buy a box from you. 2 words, booth sales. So I know someone mentioned they didn't want to do booth sales, maybe not in their own community, but sign up for those, the booth sales complete, all over the council area, whether they're at train stations or Roosevelt Field, or perhaps someplace that's right outside of their immediate community where they can go and they can sell these cookies and not be embarrassed about it, yet still reap the benefits of the entrepreneurial programs. Okay, the second area of goal setting for girls is higher awards. And I talked about this a little bit in the panel discussion. The bronze awards, while it's great if you can do it, really has no repercussions on the further awards, the silver and the gold awards. But however, the silver and the gold award are interrelated. And that's when I mentioned that the road to the gold starts in 6th grade. So set the goal, put it out there for the girls. We're earning your journey in 6th grade so that you girls are eligible to do your silver award. Encourage the girls, help them with brainstorming ideas. The silver award really is a collaboration between the leaders and the girls. The girls have to do it, but the leaders can get them on the way to doing it. They earned their silver award. That's great, because then they move on to high school. We do a journey in high school. And now for those girls who've done their silver award, they're good to go with their gold award. If they didn't do a silver award, they have to do another journey, which is so much more burdensome with all the rest of the stuff they have going on in high school. So it's important to start that on the roll in 6th grade, start them on the road in 6th grade, encourage them to set that goals to earn their higher awards. That being said, not every girl in your troop will earn their gold award for whatever reason. My troops ran about 60% of the girls would earn their gold award. We wish it would be 100, but things get in the way, whether it's a family issue, the girls just can't get their act together, something else impedes, that's okay. Make sure your girls understand that even if they don't earn their higher awards, there still is a place for them in Girl Scouting. There still is a place for them in your troop, and they still will earn and reap the benefits of Girl Scouting beyond the gold award. There's so much there that Girl Scouting has to offer them. Another way to keep Girl Scout engaged is to keep it interesting. Someone talked about some great ideas. Mary Ellen gave some ideas for for programming. 3 different ways to do this. One of them is, brand new things that girls are never exposed to. Some of our badge work, we have car care for, how many girls know how to take care of a car, woodworking at the cadet level. There's so many new experiences outdoors. Some of the outdoor things girls aren't getting outdoors as much. The new experience you can introduce a girl to. You can take areas of interest and take it further. So if you have a girl interested in art, we have comic artists. We have art level badges at every level. If you have girls who are interested in writing, we have screenwriter, we have novelists. So you can take something they're already interested in and take it beyond that. And then finally, there are those life skill badges like was it problem solving, public speaking, first aid badges, all the journeys themselves. They're all life skills that the girls can take and will use well beyond Girl Scouting. So, keep it, breaking it up. Don't get into a rut with doing something they always like, we're just pursuing what they want. Mix it up with something they don't know anything about. Take them a little outside of their comfort zone, perhaps with public speaking, challenge them. You'll be so surprised when you set the bar and challenge the girls, how they rise to the occasion. So really keep all I can say is keep your programming diverse, really, really mix it up, keep the girls engaged. I always have to add too here, I is for international. Everybody has that pin, that WAGS pin, because we're all Girl Scouts are part of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. WAGS maintains 5 world centers, the Arche Chalet in Switzerland, Pax Lodge in England, Our Cabana in Mexico, Sagam in India, and Kusafiri in Africa. The great thing about all these venues is all you have to do is show up, and they do programming for your girls. Now you may think, oh my gosh, a trip to Europe or Mexico is beyond the realm. It's not, it's doable. This came about when I was teaching my girls during World Thinking Day in 4th grade about the world centers. And one of the girls piped up and said, could we go to Switzerland? And I don't know what made me say it, but I said to the girls, if you stay in Girl Scouting through high school, we'll do everything we can to get you to Switzerland. 6 years later, these girls made it to Switzerland. It was unbelievable. Talk about goal setting, talk about retention. I had 20 girls in this troop all the way through high school. And I have to say, this was one of the biggest reasons we did, the goal of getting to Switzerland. Now you may say, well, how could we ever afford that? It's surprisingly reasonable to stay at these world centers. It's not expensive. When we went, these girls, it was probably 5 years. Yes, it was 5 years ago this summer. It cost $2,100 a girl, including airfare. 6th grade, we started saving our money from Mags and Munchies, from cookies. We added resales, holiday resales, which fit perfectly between the Mags and Munchies and the resales. And I have to say, I challenged the girls to earn half of the cost of the trip. 3 girls earned a full cost of the trip. The trip was free to them from all the efforts they had put in with cookie sales, mags and munchies and resales. Every other girl earned at least half. Most of them were closer to 75% of the cost. So please don't think just because, oh my gosh, how could we ever do this? These world centers are doable. It was a fantastic experience for the girls. They met girls from all over the world because it wasn't just them. You're there with girls from all over the place. They're still in contact. That's the beauty of social media. They're still in contact with these girls, Instagram, Facebook. And I have to say, as a leader, it was really the pinnacle moment. It was so great to see these girls achieve this and then go. And it was just an unbelievable experience for them. Another important thing about Girl Scouting is reflection or review. It's really important as you go through the different activities to review them. So whether it's a programming you did, a badge work, a trip you took, anything like that, take time at the end of it, maybe at the end of every year. So what worked? What didn't work? What did we learn from it? And this is a great way to guide your future programming. So you know what your girls enjoy doing and what they really don't want to do again. I found a great way to do this is something our troop called Roses, Thorns, and Buds. So that at the end of an activity, or like, for example, when we were in Switzerland at the end of every day, or at the end of a journey, we would say, okay, we're going to do roses, thorns, and buds. And we would go around the group and we'd say to the girl, okay, your roses, what was the best thing about this activity? What was the best thing about this day? What was it you liked the most? And every girl went around and said what it was. Then we would go around a second time. Okay, what was the thorn? What was the most challenging part of this activity or this day? Or even this year? And the girls would go around and share that. And then finally, which I thought was sometimes the insightfulness of the girls blew me away, was what are your buds? What are you taking away from this? What do you hope for tomorrow? What was it that you learned from this activity? And that is where the girls' insight just blew me away. And it really, kind of let you know that you're on par with a lot of your activities. And the great thing about this is even as they go, they grow on, they mature, they become adults, they go out into the workforce, review of everything they do is always important. In the corporate world, that's what we do. It's Girl Scouting, that's what we do. We review, did it work? Did it not work? So review reflection is an important part of keeping girls on point, keeping the girls engaged in Girl Scouting. And the next 4th out of 5 is leisure, also known as fun. Can't all be about programming, because we all know all work and no play makes Susie want to quit Girl Scouts, because girls in the end just want to have fun. So what is fun? Well, ask the experts. When you build in this time outside of programming just for the girls to hang out, it's important. This is where it's really important that it be girl-led. What we would do, as I mentioned, my meetings were at 6:30 on Sunday nights. The first half an hour, we rotated through the group, would bring pizza. The girls would sit. They went to all different high schools, so they didn't see each other every day. Even if they did, we're at the same high school. They weren't necessarily school friends. Us leaders would hang back. We would just kind of let the girls, mingle for that half an hour. It was amazing to watch the camaraderie year after year. And then at half an hour, we come in and we say, okay, girls, that's great. It's time to start our meeting. And they dutifully then, fine, we shut down. We went into our meeting. It was awesome. So where am I? Okay, so that's one way. Overnights, slumber parties. Girls love this. I know it's hard to fit it into your schedule with family commitments, but if you can find one night or one weekend a year to take your girls away. We found like the last weekend in January every year, midterms were over, sports seemed to be at a downside for some reason, and we were able to find a weekend that everybody was able to take. And we would go out to Camp Blue Bay. And that's when we found it was the most effective way to do our journeys. We had everybody there. We could get through the journeys because you can't do a journey in one meeting if you're having experience with them, but you can do it in a weekend, everything but the Take Action Project. Well, that was 2 years out of the 7 years we were older Girl Scouts. The rest of the years, we would still go out to Camp Blue Bay and we would just have fun. Whatever they would decide what they want to do. One year it was a spa weekend. They brought face masks, they did nails, they did hair. They loved it. Another weekend, we left camp. We went out into East Hampton. They explored the town. We went to the beaches. They went to a yoga studio in East Hampton. So you don't always have to stay at camp. Another year, we brought people in. We had a Zumba class at the activity center there. There would be other Girl Scouts there the weekend we were there. We would network with them and the girls would do activities together, whatever they wanted to do, just hang out. If you can't get out to Camp Blue Bay, a lot of your local community centers or houses of worship sometimes have a room that you can utilize. Maybe you a lock-in where the girls are in there and you stay for the weekend, perhaps somebody's house that can accommodate everybody. Even backyard camping. If you can work an overnight in, it's great for building camaraderie between your girls. Campfires. There's something special about campfires, s'mores, and Girl Scouts. And campfires don't have to be out in the woods. Everybody now seems to have those backyard fire pits, right? So have one of your meetings around the fire pit, maybe at the end of the year kind of thing. It's just a way to finish it off. There's something magical about campfires. Maybe that's just the geeky Girl Scout in me, but my girls always loved it. And finally, fun trips. Not every trip has to be educational. So when the girls at the end of the year, that goal setting thing, it can be a fun trip that the girls are planning for. So keep it fun as well. And of course, the final then is service. Final aspect is keeping the girls engaged through service. Service is the heart of Girl Scouting. You as leaders are performing service. You're modeling service for your girls. It's the basis of our promise and our law. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. It's what we do as Girl Scouts. You heard some great examples of service from the panel at the beginning, from veterans to seniors. There's so many opportunities, environmental cleanup, whatever it is. Girls want to make a difference in the world. It's empowering. It gives them a sense of achievement and accomplishment, and it builds self-esteem. So you heard some ideas. I asked my girls from my troop, what is your favorite service project? I was astounded. They preferred working with younger Girl Scouts. I was really surprised. I asked them, what is it about it? They said it made them feel like rock stars, because they were idolized by these younger girls, and that made them feel good about themselves. Plain fun, they enjoyed doing it. And then the one that I found most insightful, they felt they were inspiring young girls. So at the beginning, I talked about how you as mentors are inspiring your girls in your troop to be leaders. By working with younger Girl Scout troops, you're giving them the opportunity to experience that feeling too, inspiring younger girls. So how as a troop do you connect with younger Girl Scouts? You can adopt a younger Girl Scout troop. A lot of leaders have multiple girls. They can sometimes adopt their younger daughter's troop. You're killing two birds with one stone there. Perhaps you have friends. That's the great thing about leader meetings. Network with other leaders, pair up with the younger Girl Scout troop and have an event every year where you get together and do some sort of activity with the younger Girl Scouts. Service unit events are a great opportunity where the girls are actually running them. Your Bridging Awards ceremony I talked about, where the older girls were modeling the higher awards for younger girls. My girls' favorite event was a PJ party they held for Kindergarten Daisies. It was a service unit event. They invited all the Kindergarten Daisies. They had tables set up, 10 stations set up. Every year the stations were the same. So they had jewelry making, they decorated cupcakes that were already pre-baked. They made sushi out of Rice Krispie treats. They had coloring pages. They did something with stuffed animals, but every year the theme changed. So when Frozen was hot, it was the Arendelle Mall, and it was, Sven's cookie shop or cupcake shop, and Elsa's jewelry shop, and Anna's art shop. And, one year it was Moana, and it was all the characters from Moana. Another it was Disney and all different Disney characters. So they weren't necessarily reinventing the wheel every time, but every year they enjoyed it was different because they were bringing something different to it. But that PJ party, that was hands down their favorite activity. Every girl showed up to run that event. Every year they loved it. And of course, you can always do badge works or arts and crafts workshops. So there's lots of ways that you can connect with the younger girl troop. So that's just one aspect of service. You heard a lot of others, but service, I think, is so important. And it's really, as I mentioned, the heart of Girl Scouting. So in recap, there are the three groups that I've talked about. They're so important. It's the leadership. It begins with you. your parents, your IC parents, keeping them engaged so that Girl Scouting is high on their radar, important, and encouraging their girls to stay in it. And then the girls themselves, and by doing goal setting, keeping it interesting, reflecting over what works, keeping it fun, and providing service opportunities, you're keeping your girls engaged and excited about Girl Scouting. So even though it may not be cool to the outside world, the girls are getting a sense of accomplishment and achievement in what they're doing, and it makes them want to stay involved. So that's all I really have for you. So have fun, stay cool. And if we still have time, Krista, we could open up for any questions, or there were a couple opportunities that I would have built in, but I know I was running short on time. So if any of you leaders want to share fun trips or experiences you had with girls, or some great service opportunities, or suggestions you heard on how you keep your parents engaged in your troop, we would love to hear them. So I'm going to turn it over to Krista now, because she can do better at picking people up.
Thank you, Susan. Well, thank you so much. That was a fantastic presentation. I mean, I'm with Girl Scouts and I've learned so much from you just hearing what it's like at the volunteer level. I love it. So yeah, we have about 2 minutes left. Does anybody want to unmute and share anything that they've learned from tonight or through their experiences? You can also feel free to share in the chat and we can connect that way as well.
Or if they have any questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions.
I just want to thank you, Susan, for a great presentation. I wrote down a lot of ideas here. Thank you so much. And just wondering, you're a resource moving forward? Yes,
Absolutely. I would be more than happy to share, answer any questions, especially about the international trip. I have all my notes, and anyone who wants to go to Switzerland, I can't speak for Mexico or England, but to me, our chalet was the first of the world centers. It goes back to the very beginning of Girl Scouting and is an amazing, amazing trip for girls.
very cool. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Susan's email will be included in the wrap-up material that everybody will get within the next week. Is there anybody else that would like to speak or share or ask a question?
Share.
Okay, I just got a pop-up window that, yeah, go ahead, Laura.
Did your parents come on the Switzerland trip, or was it you with?
It was myself and 3 other adults, because they don't encourage you to do a 1-for-1, which I agree with, because it gives the girls independence, but also